If tomorrow all the things were gone I worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife, I thank my lucky stars to be living here today.
'Cause this flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Please remain standing for the invocation.
Hard to believe that 55 years later I get to introduce him, come up and say a few words. So, Woody Woodbury. Woody, as he's walking up, go slow. Woody, as a lot of you know, was a World War II pilot. He trained, he was a flight instructor, and near the end of World War II, he was a Corsair pilot. He was out in California getting ready to invade Japan when the war ended. He had been an entertainer prior to that. He went back into entertainment. He was a piano pilot. And when Korea came and was a Marine reservist, he re-entered the active duty and flew Panther fighter jets. He was in combat, had over 100 combat missions. And he flew with Ted Williams. I'll let Woody tell the rest. Thank you, Woody.
Thank you, Doctor. I'm just delighted to be here. I've had a wonderful career in show business. I've worked with all the best. I've been so lucky. And I was so lucky tonight to meet this little lady at our table, Kathy Levin. She's a sweet girl, sitting with us 4 old men. It's like giving an old man a box of popcorn and taking his teeth away from him. With age doesn't necessarily come wisdom. I think with age comes being a little more careful. I'm convinced of that. And I am an old guy. You know, I'm 92, but I've never felt better. She didn't say anything at all. She just kicked it up to 75 miles an hour. She said, I'll tell you something else. All the money market funds, all the IRA monies we put away, you're out of it. Your name has been scratched off. I get all of that. What do you think of that? She just kicked it up to 85 miles an hour. She said, let me tell you something else. Whatever you say, I get the home in Hawaii, I get the home here in Miami, and I'll tell you right now, you get nothing. What do you think of it? She kicked it up to 106 miles an hour. He said, let me tell you something else. I get everything I ever promised you. Now what do you think of that? Before they hit the wall, she said, I got the airbag.
All the veterans who have fallen from our ranks, the bell tolled 12 times, so we may never forget. May they rest in peace.
Amen.
Amen.
The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of intention and response to the nation's call to arms. The chair is empty, for they are not here. The wine glass is inverted. They cannot toast with us tonight. The slice of lemon reminds us of the bitter suffering that they have endured. We will never forget their sacrifice. Until the day they return or find internal peace, we will remember. Two, where he had been an executive board member for more than 20 years. Jack was married to Gail, leaves behind 3 sons, Mike, Tom, and Dave. Jack passed away in 2015. To our brother, Jack Murphy, for all that you have done, know that you will never be forgotten. David Epstein, this man's incredible. Dave was born in Brooklyn, New York on November 15th, 1920. He joined the Navy during World War II. His main job was to pack and repair parachutes, supply life rafts, Mae West, for Torpedo Squadron VT-15, where Dave got to pack the parachute of a young naval ensign that later went on to become our Commander-in-Chief, George H.W. Bush. While in the Navy, Dave married his sweetheart, Gloria. They were married over 70 years. Dave was instrumental in maintaining the Naval Air Station Fort Lauderdale Museum. Dave passed away on January 9th, 2016. Dr. Bloom, I'd like to accept this on behalf of David. Richard Wayne Clark. Dick's nickname was Bandstand from the American Bandstand TV show. Born in Washington, D.C., July 30th, 1945, he enlisted in the Marine Corps August 5th, 1965. One of the proudest days of his life is when he graduated boot camp. From that day to the end, he would always be a Marine. He was selected for the 1st Military Police Battalion in the 1st Marine Corps since the Korean War. In Vietnam, he was assigned infantry duties. Dick served his corps and country, earning 3 Purple Hearts, a Bronze Star with Combat V device. He was past commander of DAV Chapter 133, a DAV service officer, and a member of the American Legion. He married his high school sweetheart, Arlene. They were married 48 years. Bandstand passed away on August 19th, 2015. Jerome Matthew Hall. We all know him. Jerry was born on January 13th, 1944 in St. Cloud, Minnesota. He entered the Air Force after graduating from North Dakota State University. He was accepted to flight school, and his first tour in Vietnam was as a forward air controller flying a Cessna 02. His subsequent 3 combat tours later were with Strategic Air Command as a B-52 pilot. He was answered. He was also influenced many of us to become DAV service officers, to pass forward what he did for us. Jerry passed away on August 25th, 2015, leaving behind his wife Kay, 3 children, and 5 grandchildren. Thank you, Kay.
And I would just like to move on to the next part of the program, and we're going to have the presenting of our icons tonight. And I'd like to start, first time we've ever known 2 women with us, and it happens to be Post 162 American Legion and 142 here. They are the silent heroes. Tonight, the first presenter is going to be Mary Bullard. Mary, if you would come up, please. We're going to have Don Carney. And our presenter can end that. So Don's going to read the proclamation, but this is their day from Broward County.
I just want to say that in the past 6 to 8 months, we've had a really good run with the DAV Chapter 133. Thanks to Sam and Ralph, we got a donation to the chapter that paid for our guys to go to service officer school for another year. We had a terrific luncheon put on by the casino, the Coconut Creek Casino. They have put a lot of hours in and a lot of time and a lot of effort making these things happen. But there's been one guy who's had the ideas, who's been the organizer, who's been the motivator, who's put the pieces in place when they had to be. He's been very generous with his time and very generous with his money. So please help me say thank you to Chuck McCarthy. This is a proclamation signed by the mayor of Broward County to Mary. Whereas the members of the American Legion Post 142 of Pompano Beach, Florida, honors these American icons and will never forget the sacrifices our brothers and sisters in arms have made to protect and defend the liberties of our great network, be it proclaimed by the Broward by the Board of County Commissioners of Broward County, Florida, that the board hereby designates Thursday, March 31st, 2016, as American Icon Mary Bullard Appreciation Day.
Anyway, my friend Reggie, we met about 50 years ago. I proudly present to you as an icon of the disabled American veterans, Reggie Haas.
We love you, Reg.
Thank you so much.
Hey, listen, we love you. Generously did a golf tournament for us. We went well past $10,000 to pay for every single one of us that went there. All the meals, lodging, whatever we needed, dedicated to that purpose. And they honored us at the convention up in Orlando as being the biggest, most active chapter in the state. And it's because of like people and Sam, right there, Sam and my boy Ralph, Vietnam veteran, that we can do things like this. Sam, if you come up and we'd like to give this to you, we got a nice intro. Come on up. Come on.
That's right. He'll stay here.
In grateful appreciation for your continued support of our chapter. Thank you very, very much.
I'd like to bring up my buddy Kevin.
Tom Petro was born June 1939. Shortly after graduating from the University of Notre Dame, he entered the U.S. Marine Corps Officer Candidate School. He graduated in 1961 as a second lieutenant infantry officer. After Officer Basic Training School, he served with the 2nd Battalion, 2nd Marines Expeditionary Force in Okinawa. His final duty station was as an instructor, Marine Corps Officer Candidate School in Quantico, Virginia. Tom enjoys deep sea fishing, running, and swimming. He is an active member of the Marine Corps League, Pompano Beach Exchange Club. Thursday, March 21st, 2016, as American Icon, Tom Petro Appreciation Day in Broward County, Florida.
Marty, George, come on up.
You know, first I'd like to say it's an honor and a privilege to speak on behalf of my friend, George Raffaco. And I want to take a brief minute just to tell you how we met. This is my original post, Post 142. I joined about 15, 20 years ago, and about 5 years ago, me and my wife decided to move to West Virginia. I wanted to play Grizzly Adams, and she put the kibosh on that, and we came back. But I walked in this post again, and George was sitting at the bar, and he had a Marine Corps hat on, and I said, "Semper Fi, Marine," and he said, "Semper Fi." He said, "In the Corps, huh?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "What rank did you get out as?" And I said, "A corporal." He said, "Well, good, I'm a sergeant, take out the trash." And that's really how we met. George Raffaco was born in Chicago, Illinois in 1949, and at age 17, he joined the United States Marine Corps. He spent most of his time at Camp Geiger as an instructor to new Marines going through infantry training. And whereas he also spent time at the Marine Corps Air Station in Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii. He's been a huge asset to Post 142 American Legion and has held many positions both at the post and within the Legion's district and national levels. He has been the backbone of Post 142 as its commander, serving 8 years, and whereas George's initiative, perseverance, and total devotion to duty reflected great credit upon himself, and were in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Marine Corps, now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Broward County, Florida, that the board hereby designates Thursday, March 31st, 2016, as American Icon George Rafeco Appreciation Day in Broward County, Florida.
You did, yeah.
The radio man. Also on the fun part, without all the thing, tomorrow is somebody's birthday in the house. Happens to be a friend of mine. He's been an angel the last couple months. We're waiting for the wings to fall off. But if everybody join with me, my buddy Davey Nystrom's tomorrow.
All right, let's all put our hands together and sing. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dave. Happy birthday to you.
Combat medic. He's got the Bronze Star. He's got everything. Doesn't want to tell anybody about it. A career Army military man, dear friend, my boy, Barnacle Bill. That's what I call him.
Well, the greatest generation. When I moved inside and I ran into this gentleman right here, Fred. Veteran then, but he is an amazing character. Every morning he brings us a joke. Every morning of his life that he's been with us for years now. And he carries the punchlines right here. He showed them to me. I have the honor of pushing my buddy's wheelchair the day after tomorrow on the honor flight. And one of his big adventures was he broke his jaw when he stole a German's motorcycle. So that's my buddy and your friend, Fred Conrad.
Harry, please come up. Harry is a former one of our icons. These young sprite guys right here.
It's my honor to introduce Robert Hoffley. He enlisted in the Army Air Force in 1944 and was assigned to the radio division. He was then assigned to the 52nd Air Squadron flying B-29 Super Fortresses. In January 45, they flew to Guam Island in the South Pacific. He flew 15 missions over Japan. One mission they crash landed in Iwo Jima Island.
Everyone in this room has to thank Bob for something. Me for not invading Japan. You for not speaking Japanese.
He was with one of the finest in the Marine Corps, the 8th and I, stationed in Washington, D.C. I'm not going to steal any of his thunder, but I want to tell you, I saved him purposely for last because I kept my fingers crossed that the therapy would go as well as it is tonight. And when he walked in that door, it made my day. And I'll tell you what, Gene, you did it, my brother. I knew he wouldn't sit.
Front and center. All right, Jim.
National functions such as the John F. Kennedy inaugural parade, various college football games, arrival ceremonies of heads of state and visiting foreign dignitaries, and all battle color ceremonies at the Iwo Jima Memorial in Washington, D.C. By far the best duty of all was performing for the Miss America pageant in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Tough duty, buddy. His initiative, perseverance, and total devotion to duty reflected great credit upon himself, and were all in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Marine Corps. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Broward County, Florida, that the board hereby designates Thursday, March 31, 2016 as American icon Gene Breddick Appreciation Day in Broward County, Florida. Hoorah!
The reviewing officer, who at the time was our commandant, gave him a shoot. And when I went past him at about 10 feet, and I looked over, and I saw that Medal of Honor on his chest, my white trousers almost became very, very ugly. I was just in a panic. And all I could do was finish marching down that parade deck. Tonight, I feel that same feeling. Thank God these are dark trousers. We have Gary Luttrell, our Medal of Honor winner here tonight. Gary. I It is a total honor for me.
I am going to pass the torch right now to my buddy Bob Martin, because I get emotional when I think about Gary, how good he's been to all of us. After all these icons and all this stuff, I said, I beg your indulgence, I should take you first, but I'd like to keep you for last. Thank God we had the privilege of having him here. So Bob Martin.
Our guest of honor tonight is Command Sergeant Major Gary Luttrell. Gary was born in Henderson, Kentucky, great Commonwealth of Kentucky, and moved to California at the age of 13. Joined the U.S. Army in 1961, served till 1985, retired as a Command Sergeant Major. Why anybody would want to jump out of an airplane, but that's what he wanted to do. He joined the Army at the age of 17 and became a Ranger instructor. In April of 1970, Gary was an advisor to some 143 South Vietnamese Rangers in Vietnam. They encountered an enemy force of 2 regiments and a battalion of NVA regulars, approximately 5,000 men. That's 147 against 5,000. In the first few minutes of the mortar attack, the South Vietnamese leader was killed, and the 3 of the advisors, the American advisors, were either killed or wounded. And Sergeant First Class Luttrell had to take over the duties. For 4 days, he led the defenses, inspired the troops, took care of wounded, called in airstrikes and artillery, sometimes within meters of their own position, to keep themselves from getting overrun. 4 days later, when they were finally able to leave the hill and join up with the friendly forces, there were only 41 walking wounded of the original 147 men. It took some 3.5 years for Sergeant First Class Luttrell to be awarded the Medal of Honor, mainly due, I think, probably to political climate in the country at the time. President was going through some pretty tough times himself, like getting impeached and so forth. But because of the political climate of the country, it took a long time for this man to receive the recognition that he so richly deserves. He was presented the Medal of Honor in Washington, D.C. by President Nixon. I would like to read his citation for his Medal of Honor citation. Says, for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity in action at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty. Sergeant First Class Luttrell, U.S. Military Assistance Command, Vietnam Advisory Team 21, distinguished himself while serving as a light weapons infantry advisor with the 23rd Battalion, 2nd Ranger Group, Republic of Vietnam Army, near Dak Song. After establishing a defensive perimeter on a hill on April 4th, the battalion was subjected to an intense enemy mortar attack, which killed a Vietnamese commander, one advisor, and seriously wounded all the advisors except Sergeant First Class Luttrell. During the ensuing 4 days, Sergeant First Class Luttrell exhibited near superhuman endurance as he single-handedly bolstered the besieged battalion. Repeatedly abandoning positions of relative safety, he directed artillery and air support by day and marked the unit's location by night, despite the heavy, concentrated enemy fire. His dauntless will instilled in the men of the 23rd Battalion a deep desire to resist. Assault after assault was repulsed as the battalion responded to the extraordinary leadership and personal example exhibited by Sergeant First Class Luttrell as he continuously moved to those points most seriously threatened by the enemy, redistributed ammunition, strengthening faltering defenses, caring for the wounded, and shouted encouragement to the Vietnamese in their own language. When the beleaguered battalion was finally ordered to withdraw, numerous ambushes were encountered. Sergeant First Class Luttrell repeatedly prevented widespread disorder by directing airstrikes within 50 meters of their position. Through his indomitable courage and complete disregard for his safety, he averted excessive loss of life and injury to the members of the battalion. The sustained extraordinary courage and selflessness displayed by Sergeant First Class Luttrell over an extended period of time were in keeping with the highest traditions of the military service and reflect great honor, credit on him and the U.S. Army. It's with pleasure I present to you the Command Sergeant Major and Medal of Honor recipient, Gary Luttrell.
You know, life has been absolutely beautiful. On my 15th birthday, I forged my birth certificate. I was in Los Angeles, California, joined the Army. Halfway through basic training, they found out, kicked me out. On my 17th birthday, I'm back in the Army. I'm back in the Army. I want to jump out of them damn airplanes. I can't wait. Life has been so good to me. I spent 22 years in the military. Let me say right now, we have the best military force that I've ever seen. Because they are the best. It's scary though, and when we talk to our congressmen and senators, we got to keep pushing this. Our military is getting cut to where training funds are going to dry up. Our unit downsize. It's going to be just like what I seen twice. Post-Korea, when I joined the Army as a young private, we didn't have training funds and our military was downsized. Then Vietnam come, all the money poured in. Post-Vietnam in the 70s, training funds dried up, units downsized. You get committed back to battle. You get a lot of people killed because they don't have the funds to train and they don't have the units that can go out in and fight. It's scary right now. Let's not send our kids in that are poorly trained, because our tax dollars is sent elsewhere. Build our military, train our military, defend our country. God bless you.
To the prairies, to